So we're here today to talk about boosting your income using social media, and I'm just going to give you some brief intros to everybody here. Over at the far end of the table, or my far end anyway, we've got Drew Bennett from benspark.com. Right here we've got Eric from Carnival Cruise Lines, and of course Micro Steph from Micro Media Marketing. So we're just going to give you some brief insight into what everybody does and give you some case studies, and then we'll answer some questions. Oh, and then you have me. Take it away, Eric.
Sure. Yeah, so basically when we were coming here to talk at Affiliate Summit, I was trying to figure out the best, I guess, sort of case study I could share to bring value to you guys, and I think it was probably the latest thing that we had done to sort of launch our latest ship, the Carnival Breeze. Basically within social, it's always been a little bit of a challenge figuring out how we can leverage the tool to actually boost income and book cruises. I mean, we do it in a lot of different ways, but as far as like direct sales, it's always been somewhat of a challenge. I mean, it's not like going to a site and buying a shirt or just an electronic good. It's more of a complex purchase. And normally when we, our strategy for social is more about just constant engagement, keeping our brand top of mind, and just creating valuable content to really get in front of cruise rookies, as we call them, people who have never cruised before, and like helping them and educating them. But for our latest ship, basically the approach we took was how can we really get people interested in our product, but also relate to it a little bit better. We had always done product videos where we showcased the product in a number of different ways through testimonials, which did well, but we would always link out through our videos, but it was never really saw any spikes for sales or anything. So we decided to actually take up a host, essentially, but really this one girl who had never cruised before, and actually show the entire cruising experience of this new ship through her eyes. And we actually leveraged all of our social channels to sort of create this integrated experience. So it was called The Real Carnival Breeze Life. Basically followed around this girl through she had never been through Europe, and she did these daily blog videos, which we would always link back through YouTube annotations back to our site, so giving people a way to get more information. But she was live tweeting her entire experience from our corporate social media account with pictures, keeping it very, very personalized. And that was something we had never done before, and you can imagine going up to our CMO and trying to say, oh, we want to give our account away to this person who had never been really affiliated with our brand. It was just sort of a guest that was interested in taking a cruise. But so she was doing that. We also leveraged Pinterest, which we were really getting into. It's the perfect fit for our brand, really, just women in general, moms and things like that. So she was posting her pictures daily on there, and that drove a ton of really targeted traffic. And at that point, we were actually able to track everything until they ended up stripping everything away lately. But I'll get into a couple tools that have helped us sort of understand that traffic. And then also through Facebook, using a tab, sort of aggregated all of that content. And it was really an interesting experience trying to understand how this was affecting people's interest in the ship. So normally in the past, as far as videos, we were probably getting about 40%. 40% of the viewers were watching them through the entire video, probably about a 2-minute video, which is decent when you're posting just sort of product-based videos. But when we actually put a person that people were following along and connecting with, and just sharing her experience throughout all of these channels, it moved up to about 85%. And actually, our click-throughs to our site were out of control. Basically, for every person that had watched the video, it was about 1 in 4 were actually clicking through to our site, and for the first time ever, we booked about, it was a little over 50 cruises, which was huge for us because we had never actually done anything from a campaign sort that actually had that much power through social content. So I think the whole goal here, and what I wanted to convey is actually, if you have a product or you're really trying to push something through social, really take into account actually using a real person, whether it's yourself or finding someone who's never used your product for the first time, and really showing how their experience is using it for the first time, or just kind of document. I know Drew has a lot of experience doing that. very successfully. But you know, that was a really, really exciting thing to see for us as a brand, and something that we're definitely going to continue in a lot of different ways. So that was probably our best case study as of late in terms of really boosting our personal brand income through social channels.
All right, Andrew, I know you had some good examples too.
Yeah, well, I'm primarily a blogger, and what I do is I work directly with brands on different campaigns. So how I got to Kia and Chevy was kind of a roundabout way. I was at a conference in Atlanta where Chevy was the main sponsor. It was a conference where there was more speakers than there were attendees, so they really weren't getting, I didn't feel that they were really getting, you know, their money's worth. So they were giving test rides to everybody who wanted to take a test ride. So if you wanted to drive a Camaro, or if you wanted to drive a Corvette, or even a Silverado or one of their Chevy Cruzes, you could do so. And you know, everyone was just, you know, taking the rides and getting a gift card. What I did is I gave the person who rode with me my camera, my video camera, and I said, all right, film me, and I'll ask you questions about the car, and you can tell me all about the car, and we'll make some videos. So I made a bunch of videos of me driving around the cars, and when I was done, I made friends with the social media manager from Chevy. I said, look, I made all these videos, and you know, because I figured you guys aren't really getting a lot of anything back from this conference. I'll at least give you something out there about each of the individual cars, like cars that I've never driven before. So it's like a person who's never driven in them, you know, a Corvette before or a Camaro, just, you know, talking about their experience. And through that, I just formed a relationship with the folks from Chevy, and they asked me to come to the International Car Show. I went there with my video camera and my cameras and took a ton of pictures and filmed things with a lot of their upper management and made videos and things like that, so that when I needed a car, I called them up, and they gave me a Chevy Camaro convertible for a week just to tool around in, and I made videos and went on trips, and I was actually working with another brand at the same time that was a GPS brand for your iPhone called Telenav, and they did turn-by-turn directions and stuff for your iPhone, and you know, mixing those two together, you know, I'm doing a road trip on a sleek little Chevy Camaro, and then I connected with another blogger, and we did a hot dog tour, and because you know, Chevy all-American hot dogs, apple, baseball hot dogs, apple pie, and Chevrolet, you know, pull that all together. And so I guess I started doing things with different car companies, and I got connected with Kia through a Twitter party. And when I was done, I pitched them the idea that we're going to do a road trip to Florida. From Massachusetts to Florida, and my wife said, no, you're not doing that. So I went back to him and said, okay, well, what if we went from this part of Florida up to this part of Florida, and we just documented the family doing the trip. So I was able to get a Kia Sorento for 10 days. So to me, that was completely worth it, because, you know, trying to rent a car for 10 days, you know, I made some good income that way, just alternative income. And what Kia got from it is a lot of videos and photos and me around different landmarks and the car, and talking about the car all over the place. So those are some of the things that I've done, you know, showing off key features of the vehicle and stuff like that. So they're using a person who never really worked with that particular product, experiencing it for the first time and giving you their authentic feedback. So that's kind of what I've done with that.
And did you want to talk a little bit about the Shark Tank blog as well? I thought that was a great example.
Yeah, so I have a friend, and he was here yesterday. I don't know if any of you know Rob Merlino. He goes by the Hot Dog Man. I just spent the past month with him going to hot dog joints all over New England every day in July, National Hot Dog Month. And one of the things that we were bringing around with us was some different products from entrepreneurs from the Shark Tank, because he runs he's one of the two people who work on the Shark Tank blog, and they've connected directly with the sharks as well as the entrepreneurs to promote the products, to write about the show, and I guess the first couple weeks that they had the site up, it crashed the servers because there were so many people interested in the Shark Tank, and so they were following this blog. And because they reached out through social media, through Twitter, through Facebook to the sharks as well as to the entrepreneurs, they got increased traffic because now the sharks are tweeting about the Shark Tank blog, or they'll redirect people to that blog. So it's just one way to do that is kind of like build those relationships. So.
And then I know for fans of The Bachelorette, Steph actually has a case study on people water.
My name is Stephanie, and I'm a reality show junkie. I admit it. Anyone else? Okay, so social media can actually connect you with anyone that you want to work with. That's the exciting thing. You can connect with your customers, you can connect with brands that you would normally not be able to talk to. This is a good example of how I use social media, and I use social media for the clients, but I actually started watching The Bachelorette, and I really liked Jeff Holm, and I saw something in him that was very interesting. He was an entrepreneur and doing a lot and giving back with his company. So I started browsing on Facebook, and I found not only his name, but I also found his company, People Water, on Facebook. And I saw that they had a decent following, but I've worked with clients that are on TV or are featured in something, and the amount of activity that they get blows them away. And I said, okay, I looked at his page and I could tell that they had a good foundation, but they needed a little bit of help. They also build wells in Nicaragua, where I'm from, so I reached out to him and I said, listen, I'm from Nicaragua. What you're doing over there is great. I do social media. You're about to, if you stay on the show, which I think you will, he ended up winning, you're going to see a big increase in your social media fans, and you need to have a strategy and a plan of action. So I want to share a couple things that we did with him to build his social media and build his brand as he continued to be on the show. And you can apply this to your brand as well. And what I'm going to share is actually all free. So you just have to invest a little bit of time, but it'll help you to build your brand. So the first thing we did on Twitter where we began to monitor certain keywords related to his name and his company name and his fans. All I asked Jeff to do was please dedicate 2 hours a week when the show's airing live and interact with your fans and respond to their questions. So basically, every time that the air was showing, every time that the show was airing, he would go on Twitter and follow the hashtag, which was Team Jeff. There was also a big hashtag, which was for The Bachelorette. So for those who don't know, a hashtag is just a topic. During Affiliate Summit, it's ASE12. It's just the #. Everyone that wants to have conversations about the same topic can then follow that, and then they can talk to people that they've never actually met. So we started doing that, and it was very successful because generally he would get about 10,000 fans while the show was going on. But once he started live tweeting, that doubled, and he got about 20,000 followers instead of 10,000. So you can apply this on a larger or smaller scale. And if you generally get 10 or 20 followers and you want to start getting more, spend 30 minutes. And there's a good website called wefollow.com. This is a free directory for Twitter, and it basically shows you any topic. So if you want to find people that are influential about purses or that are influential in Canada, there's a lot of things that you can search and start thinking about, who do I really want to connect with? And you can find people that will respond to you and will partner with you or will promote you as an affiliate or as a company, and you can reach out to consumers. It's amazing the kind of information that you can find. It's all free, it's all there, and it's nonstop. It's all in real time happening. So that's one of the things we did were the live tweets. Another thing that we did on Facebook was, has anyone seen some e-cards? So they're quotes that people are sharing and passing around Facebook. Raise your hands if you've seen those or shared those. Okay, so a share feature on Facebook is really easy. The nice thing about it is, more people can see the image, but you don't really want it to go always to some e-cards. You want it to be more about yourself. So if you think about your brand and what your audience might like, for People Water, we decided to do inspirational quotes or facts about how people need more clean drinking water and things like that. So basically, all we did, very simple, we did a template that included the logo of People Water, and it included a hashtag. Because we not only, you know, after The Bachelorette stopped airing, we also wanted to keep having conversations. You know, you can host a Twitter party or have people tweet with a certain hashtag. So we started branding Drop for Drop, which, you know, it's kind of the same thing that Tom does with shoes, 1 for 1. So we started looking at that hashtag, promoting it not only on Twitter, but also on the Facebook image or on any of the places that we had social media pages, and we had the Drop for Drop hashtag. We also, in the images that I'm talking about with some e-cards, we did like a little template which had the company logo, and it also had the Twitter hashtag. Then every week, all we would do is change out the inspirational quote, and we would post it. We get a lot of shares, and all of a sudden now it's starting to be more brandable for the company and not just, you know, sharing something about someone else. So that's a very free, easy way to do it. Another little thing that's interesting, if you do video or images and you want to monetize social media, I actually just had this meeting yesterday and I found it interesting. I have seen it in places before. Kiosk is a company that they will actually, in an image or in a video, you know, say it's IKEA and they have a whole bedroom set. If someone hovers over, you know, the pillow or the candle that they like, it'll actually go back to where they can purchase that on the site. And they can do that for affiliates and split the commissions with the affiliates, and they can do that for the merchants, and the merchants will make more money off of it. And that's something that you can promote on social media, which is a great tool. There are a lot of tabs that you can add, like a schematic is a shop tab that people can shop directly within Facebook. Normally we see that if it's a lower price point like cosmetics or stickers and things like that, people are more willing to quickly buy something. You have to keep that in mind. If you have something that's seasonal or the price point is very high, you know, they're probably going to browse around and they're going to want to be educated a little more on what you do before purchasing. So the lower price points are a little easier to sell, but it's always great to keep them within Facebook or, you know, on the platform that they're already on, because they're not going to go to your website every day, but they are going to log in to Facebook and to Twitter and to Pinterest. And Pinterest has been blowing up, but we don't do it for everyone. And you don't have to be everywhere. Just focus on the platforms that would be best for you. Pinterest is really great when it's related to a woman type product, because it is really predominantly women on there. They share a lot about home, they share a lot about crafts and things like that. So, you know, if your brand has nothing to do with that, you know, don't spend your time and efforts on that. It's better to spend your time and efforts on something that is more related to your brand.
And I think one of the things we really wanted to make sure we did in this session is cover the popular platforms and some of the popular tools that everybody was interested in. So we did a bit of a poll on the Affiliate Summit forum, and you can see the results here. But we want to make sure that we're covering topics that our audience today is actually interested in. So we've already gone into a little bit about Facebook and Twitter, but we're going to give you the opportunity to kind of direct where the session goes next. So does anybody have any specific tools or platforms that they'd like to talk about or get feedback on? Don't be shy.
I'm going to talk about Pinterest, since, you know, I think that's what people are really interested in right now, because it's growing so much and they might not really know what to do with it. So this is the way that Pinterest kind of works. It has different boards, so they're like collages. It's all images, and the image is tied to a link. So you want to make sure that link is going directly to where you want it to go. It cannot be an affiliate link, but it can go to a blog, or it can go to a merchant website. So what you want to do is you want to have those images with the links. It drives a ton of traffic. It drives more traffic than YouTube, Google+, or LinkedIn combined. It's a huge traffic driver, so you really want to focus on it if it's related to your brand. The way to go about setting up Pinterest is pretty easy. Look at your website, look at all the products you have and what you're trying to promote. I'll use a client as an example that's bedding style. We just set them up. I've been pushing, you know, this is perfect for us. It's all women, let's do it. So we finally got it approved. We started with the brands. We just look at the header of the website and it says Tommy Hilfiger, Vera Wang, Steve Madden. And I said, okay, perfect. Start setting up boards that are specific to different categories. Once that's done, then we want to start setting up boards that are specific to themes like back to school or floral, and also selling the lifestyle. It's not all about just pushing your products. It's also about sharing things that people would like. So it's not only bedding for this client. We want to also show themes and the lifestyle that's going to relate to their brand. And even before we've set up Pinterest for them, they were already getting more traffic and more money from Pinterest than Facebook or Twitter, and we hadn't even set up their pages. You can add a pin it button on your website, and that's all user generated. So people will go in and they'll share your products, and then all of a sudden, you're not doing anything. You just add a little button on each specific. You want it on every single product page, whether you're an affiliate or a merchant. You want people sharing this on Facebook, on Twitter with those shareable buttons. And all of a sudden, you know, their networks start seeing that. So I say if Pinterest is in your demographic, you definitely want to pay attention to it.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add is just like any social channel, right, you don't always want to constantly push out your own stuff. So a lot of the things that we had focused on was like, you know, especially as a big brand, a lot of our images are very stocky based, and like they're not the type of images that normally would do well there. So we did create a lot of themes in our lifestyle. Like we have one about, you know, just cruising outfits, and obviously we don't sell clothes on our site or do anything, but you know, it's something that people on Pinterest, especially women, are interested in. So they're like, oh, this is a really cool, you know, idea of what to pack, and we have different things that work really well for the platform. It works well on what women want to save to look at later. And right now, we really focused our biggest initiative on just curating content from other sources. And we have it's still a very gray area. We have our pinning practices up, so we basically will only pin another image if we can actually link to the original source. If you pin to a Flickr or anything, it automatically links back, so that's the only time we'll do it. But I think my point is, for us at least, right, we're getting a lot more interest because people want to follow our boards, because we're actually finding a lot of amazing pictures and content that we haven't taken, and it gets then when we do post our own stuff, it gets them. We already have a built-in audience for it. So not only that, and then you can also connect with a lot of big influencers. So if you are like a bedding, or you're in travel, or any type of product, and you just start repinning someone else's photos who has a lot of followers, it's a great way to get their attention as well and connect with them, and maybe they'll start doing it as well. It's that whole, you know, reciprocity thing. So one thing I would just encourage is just don't always just focus on uploading your own stuff. Find ways to share others, and become the source for just finding amazing images and helpful content that people are going to want to follow your page and boards for.
And Drew, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you're obviously big on the photos and the photo a day challenge. So do you want to share some of your experiences?
Well, not necessarily with Pinterest, although the only thing that's in my Pinterest is like modifications of toys. So I love Lego, what people do with different Lego things. And if you go to my Pinterest board, there's a lot of My Little Pony stuff. So, just because oh, sorry, yeah, my Pinterest board. What did I say? I forget. Ben Spark. It's everywhere. Everywhere I am is Ben Spark. But I take a photograph every single day, and I've done that for 7 years. So you guys have actually just given me the idea of to pin those, which I should have been doing. Well, Pinterest hasn't been around as long as I've been doing my thing, but I can go back through and pin all my photos into a photo a day board or something like that. Yes. Yeah, I'm actually currently sharing, and I'm going to get to that for the Pixel Pipe application. That is where you can send out to multiple places at once. So my photos are on Flickr, they're on Facebook, they are on Zoomer, they're on Picasa, which is now Google+, and so they're all over the place there. Plus, the main place where I put everything is a site called ShutterCal. And they're actually a company that I started working with 3 years ago when they were created. They approached me because they have a platform that is specifically for taking a photograph every day. And they have a couple of physical products that they sell through that. And one of them is what they call is a shoebox. So when you take your photo every single day, at the end of the month, you can get a packet of cards and put them into the shoebox. So at the end of 12 months, you have 12 months full of your photos from every day. And so I took it from the approach of a new parent, where I had a son in November, and every single day since he's been born, I've taken a photo of him. And I'm taking all of those photos, buying a shoebox. Actually, I'm buying 3, one for me, one for my in-laws, and one for my parents, as a very unique gift for them. And they have an affiliate program, so every one of my photos is linked directly back to my landing page as an affiliate, where I speak about it on my site about the project that I'm doing with my son. So new parents, that would be a way to just promote that as a new parent. So those are some of the places that I post my photos. Also, Posterous, Tumblr, different places. So what I'll do is I'll go to PixelPipe, and I'll put my photo in, and I'll put in all my tags and my links, and they link to my blog post, and then upload the photo where it'll go to Facebook, it'll go to Flickr, it'll go to I don't know, it's probably about like 20 or 30 different ones where they go to. Yeah, that's a tool for that. PixelPipe will not only upload photos, but you can use it to upload videos as well to different video sites, although TubeMogul is probably better for that. So,
Real quick, sorry, back on Pinterest. Before I forget, another big thing that you'd want to do is you can also add hashtags to Pinterest, so it's a great way to have people discover your content. So if you aren't doing that, I would definitely recommend it. Don't go crazy. It's not like, stuffing keywords in there, but whenever you can fit it in, it's a great way. We found people discovering our content that way. Also, recently, they disabled the use of any URL shortening. So if you were ever trying to track how many people clicked through or any of that stuff, you can't do that anymore, and that was because of this whole, them trying to kind of crack down on affiliates, gaming the system.
Quick question about that?
Yeah.
What if you're using a URL shortener on your own domain? So like using the PrettyLink plugin, for example, for WordPress?
Yep.
Would they catch that?
As far as what I know, any URL shortener, they're flagging and not allowing you to check it. So, so for the first thing, the first tool is, I know something that Steph used, it's called Pinnerly. But that's something for you to just track your analytics on the site. So how many repins you're getting, how many pins you're getting, how many people are liking it, etc. And then also another one that we just started using, it's not free, but it's not that expensive. It's called Curate. And if you're actually using Google Analytics or Omniture on your blog to track purchases, this is a really, really awesome tool to track people from the site and see what they're doing. Obviously, understanding that traffic a little bit better and how that's influencing purchases on your site. Curulate. Curate. I felt like I was on a spelling bee there.
And I think along those same lines, we want to talk about some other tools that are really popular that are great examples of how you can build your brand and maybe make some income part-time or full-time eventually. So Steph, do you want to start out with Wildfire?
Sure. Wildfire is a tool that's very cost-effective. They were actually bought out by Google. And what you can do with Wildfire is actually grow the amount of people that are in your page. So if you want to start targeting a certain kind of industry, if you want to target fashion, they have a lot of different topics. So you can select who you want to target for a promotion. All you have to invest is giving something away. I wouldn't go with giving away an iPad. That's very, overused. I would go with something related to your brand because you're going to be targeting people that like your brand. So it's not going to cost you much. It's just going to usually be like a product that you have. And then what you want to do is not only try to get likes or followers, you can also start collecting emails as well. So Wildfire is very cost effective. If you run a campaign for about a month, that's a little more advanced. It costs like about $125 to run. And from that, you can generate likes, and you can also generate and start building your email database. And Hootsuite that I have right there, it's usually a free platform up to five accounts, but it's very cost effective. I mean, it's as little as like $9 or $10 a month. You can actually have different team members access certain pages that you want them to access, and they just recently added Google Plus as well. So you can actually go ahead and have your Facebook, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, your Google Plus, and you can monitor everything from one place. You can also schedule things to go out. It's very easy to use. If you first set it up, it has a how to get started with like an FAQ and videos, and it'll show you how to run everything. And one of the best things about it is actually setting up certain keywords and really monitoring what people are saying. You can set up your name, your CEO's name, your brand name. You can set up anything that has the .com, so if someone tweets out something from your site, you'll be able to see what they're saying. And don't only stick to your own brand name, also stick to your product and things related to your product so that you can see what people are saying, and you can actually have conversations and find customers. I mean, I've seen airlines do this where someone was saying, oh man, I had such a bad time on my Delta flight, and they were complaining about this on Twitter, and no one from Delta responded to them. But shortly after, I don't remember if it was JetBlue or Southwest, but they're both pretty on top of their social media, and they actually went in and responded and said, oh, we're sorry to hear about your flight. We can't wait to have you on board with us. So it's amazing. It's just how much time you can dedicate, but I would say, use some of these tools to save you time. Don't try to be everywhere. Just be in the right places and dedicate some time. Be very consistent. Think about who you're talking to and the time in which you're posting. Don't post something at midnight. If you have nationwide, keep West Coast and East Coast into consideration. Don't post too often on Facebook. On Twitter, you can have ongoing conversations. On Facebook, one thing I want to say, and I don't want to take up too much time, I know I can go on for hours and hours, but Facebook has something which is called a promoted post, which basically is just a simple button. When you have a Facebook business page, you cannot do this on a personal page. You cannot have analytics on a personal page. You can on a business page. So it's very important that you have a business page set up, and you can actually click promote, and you can spend as little as $5 to target more people. And Facebook just rolled out within like the last couple weeks a more targeted promotion tool where you can actually target gender, age groups, languages. That's not rolled out to everyone yet, but it's going to be soon. And they're really working on making it in a way where you have the exact messages that you want and outreach to exactly who you want. And guess what? All that personal information that you're sharing on Facebook, well, that's really good for businesses because you can actually find your key ideal audience and not only target them, but also grow with them and make your products better for them.
And I think that goes for affiliate marketing as well. Just like you would want to schedule an email to go out at a certain time, there are peak times on Twitter and Facebook, and there are tools that you can use to track, and we'll get into a few of those as well, to schedule your posts and really get optimum results and try to maximize your usage of the platforms. Do you want to talk about Buddy a little bit?
Yeah, so we use a company called Buddy Media. They actually just got bought out as well by Salesforce. So it's similar to Wildfire. The way we first started working with them was to power our Facebook tabs and just create a lot of engaging content. Whenever we did a sweeps or anything, we would use them. But actually what they've done, and the products that I like more are two. So one of them that they launched a couple months ago is called Conversion Buddy. And basically what that does is it allows us to add these sharing buttons across our site. So whether it's, right now we're using them mostly on like itinerary pages and also thank you pages. So let's say someone buys a cruise, says thank you, blah, 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 share this with your friend, invite them, bring you whatever. So they share it on Facebook or Twitter. We basically only give them 4 options: Facebook, Twitter, a link copy, which is actually the most used. You may not think that, but actually most people just copy links and put it in the email or whatever, but also email, which is similar, and on some pages pin it. But basically what that will do is once they share it on any of those properties, if anyone comes back to the site and book it, we can actually track those conversions from the sharing. So it's actually the first tool of its kind that actually really allows you to hone in on, number one, what products are doing the best. We see that maybe 1,000 people are sharing a certain cruise ad on Facebook, but only 100 are sharing it on Twitter, but the conversion rate on Twitter is a lot better, so maybe we want to focus a little bit more on that. So it's really allowed us to really dig a little deeper and understand the sharing that's happening on our site and the results that are coming from that. Another thing is they have something called Reach Buddy, and that is basically whenever you go to a tab and you see any of these really cool saplets that are like polls or like vote up and down or video players, and they inherently have social features. So after you watch it, it encourages you to share on Facebook or whatever it may be. They actually allow you to take those saplets, as they call it, and put it on your site. So it's a basic, simple HTML code that you just paste wherever you want, if you have a sidebar or whatever it may be. So let's say you wanted to have a poll, you could basically embed it like a WordPress widget. People would take it, and right after they do it, it would, you know, if they were signed in Facebook, which most people are, it would give them the Facebook pop-up to share if they want to. And we've gotten some amazing results off of there through polls, through video players, etc. And everything's in one system for your analytics. So those are two really good tools from them that we leverage. And then the last thing is through YouTube, and it's something I don't see a lot of people take advantage of, but we heavily use YouTube annotations. So that's basically, if you don't know what that is, it basically allows you to create links within your videos that will either link to other videos on your page, to subscribe. You can use it to pause your video. You can use it. We actually just recently got the feature to send traffic out to any external site. So I believe they're rolling that out to more business or to more YouTube channels. So that's just a great way. Like, you know, at the end of your video, it shouldn't be like, what do I do next? Why not capitalize on that traffic and either get them to view more of your videos if they're interested, or subscribe, so you start building up that audience for future content. And then once this feature is out, to get to your site, start tracking that and giving them a reason to go back and learn more information about it. So we've had really great success building our subscriber base and also views throughout our videos. Basically, in the back end of your YouTube channel, you'll just see a spot for annotations, and it's really, really easy to set up. And I really highly suggest you take advantage of that.
Eric, just to build on that, if you go to YouTube, check out the channel for a violinist. Her name is Lindsay Sterling. She really does it right as far as the annotations and as well as putting things at the end of the video. So she's a really great example of how to capitalize on driving traffic to your other videos as well as driving traffic back to your site. You'll see within the description there's great links that she's put in there, as well as on the video itself, where she'll say, this is my previous video, and the previous video is playing there. You can click and go to that specific video. She can say, you know, this is my videographer who produced the video, link to their site, subscribe button, any number of things. But she really does it right, capitalizing on the end of that video and just driving people where you want to drive them to next. So if you look up Lindsay Sterling, that's a good example.
What's the URL for that?
Just look up the name Lindsay Sterling, S-T-I-R-L-E-N-G. I-N-G. I-N-G. Daniel's one to turn me on to her. So, yeah. Yeah. Epic Violin Girl also works too. So.
And did you want to touch a little bit on Get Glue and Pixel Pipe?
Yeah, I talked about Pixel Pipe earlier, but Get Glue is a site where you can check into things that you're doing. So for example, if you're watching television, so this would work really great with The Bachelorette, is it Bachelor, Bachelorette? I don't know.
Oh,
reality shows, television
yeah.
shows, whatever television show you're into. If you're going to be talking about it anyway, start on the Get Glue site, because those are people who are watching the show. They're already the audience. So start there, and you can bump out to your whatever you put up there can go out to Twitter, can go out to Facebook. So if you kind of start the conversation there, you can get the people who are already watching the show and talking about it anyway, and maybe get interested in what you're saying. So for the people water, that would be really a cool thing to do too, because you just put it in there like as a tweet, and then the more you watch a particular show, after I think about 3 or 4, you become a fan of the show, and the more you watch, you become a super fan of the show, and so then your authority builds on that particular show. So this is really only if you're working around a television show or a movie or a book series that you're reading or something like that, if you want to get into the conversation with people who are already the audience of what you're looking at, for example, I don't know, if you like Twilight or something like that, you know, you can check in on the book and say, you know, I'm reading, I'm at this part of the book, and the more you check in, you know, the higher you get with that. But you can also be talking with people who are all in the same audience.
I do want to talk about hashtags a little bit more. It's not only applied to Twitter. Hashtags will tag certain topics. So if you're sending something out and you have 500 followers, only your 500 followers might see that. But if you start tagging what you're sending out with a location or with a topic, all those people that are following that topic are going to start seeing what you're saying, and you'll connect with more people. Using WeFollow, like I was talking about before, can also be used not only to find people, but also to find hashtags. And to give you an example, I was working with a client, and he was doing something related to posting jobs. And the hashtag job was used maybe a couple hundred times, and the hashtag jobs with an S was used almost 3,000 times. So then that's how we decided which hashtag we wanted to use, because sometimes you might not really know which one's going to be more relevant. You don't want to tag things, you know, 5 times with a lot of different things. You want to find what the official hashtag might be. And then hashtags don't only work on Twitter. LinkedIn on your personal page will actually pull in Twitter. So if you tweet me at MicroSteph and you also post that out on LinkedIn, I'm not going to get a notification on LinkedIn. But if someone finds something about me, they can click on my name, and then they can find my Twitter account and learn a little more about me. So you want to try to personalize everything as much as you can, and make sure that if it's a person or a company, you're tagging their names on Facebook or on Twitter. And if it's a topic, you want to tag it with a hashtag. Once you find really relevant hashtags, you can set those up on Hootsuite. And Hootsuite also does integrate Google Analytics as well. So if you shrink your link and everything, that'll all be trackable and linked back to your Google Analytics. And you can also pull in Facebook Insights through Hootsuite as well. So as of right now, we generally do run most of our platforms through Hootsuite. The only thing that we still do manually is Facebook, because Facebook still doesn't, you know, it won't really pull in hashtags. So if you just automate and send everything to the same place, it's going to confuse a lot of people on Facebook, because it doesn't make sense. They're very different platforms. You have to think about who you're talking to and how you're going to say things. And also, you know, you have a different amount of space on Twitter. You can say more on Facebook. So the only one that I would say, you know, you can be very comfortable with just sending to the same place would be LinkedIn, because they actually have this connection to Twitter, and it does make sense to your audience if they click on things. On Google Plus, I have noticed I did send something out with ASE12, which was the hashtag, and when I clicked on it, I found, you know, not as many people as I found on Twitter, but I think Sean and myself were saying something about it. So they are also tagging and showing those conversations that people are having. So make sure that you add those kind of tags to what you're doing. And we touched on timing a little bit, and generally, you know, it's while people are supposed to be at work. That's when they're actually on Facebook and doing their social media. So around like a lunch hour, a little bit before or after in the afternoon is a good time. But you want to keep that in mind, because you will get a lot more activity during the day than if you post very, very early or late at night. And I think that's basically what I wanted to touch on.
We actually had a question come in from Twitter, which was, how do I monetize LinkedIn? I know you talked about LinkedIn a little bit, but we really haven't gotten into that. So whoever wants to take it.
Do you want to? I can talk a little bit about LinkedIn. One of the most powerful things on LinkedIn is actually groups. Not only joining groups, but building your own groups. And I'm going to be working on a tool with someone that's going to help to grow groups. So say that you have a group about pets, and there's another group that's like Petco or PetSmart, and they have already like 100,000 followers for groups. You can then start inviting those people to your groups. You can set up a premium account, which doesn't cost too much, and it allows you to message and interact with more people. It's a very powerful tool, because Unlike, Facebook is more personal, Twitter's very conversational, but LinkedIn is very professional. So if you have a business that lends itself to, working with other companies and doing things that are a little more serious, LinkedIn is more serious about business. So you have a lot of unlimited resources to finding the right kind of people and connecting with them. And, the premium account isn't that much to set up. But in a really good place to connect with new people is by creating your own groups or joining relevant groups and going in there. And you don't just go in there and start posting your links and like talking about yourself. You find the most relevant groups and have conversations and answer people, just like you might want to do like on a blog. And if you have your own blog post, and that's another thing, social media goes hand in hand with content and videos and your blog. You always want to have a call to action. You want to send someone back to you as much as possible. You're not going to be salesy, but you're going to be informational. I always say the 3 E's, and then I always forget what they all are, but it's educate, entertain, and engage. And you always want to do that. And if you're doing that, you will become the expert in your niche and focus on that. And if you're writing things in the groups and you have relevant blog posts, you can start building your traffic and making really good connections. And a lot of times you'll have people in common so you can get introduced or connect with. I'm talking you're connecting with the CEOs or the people that you normally wouldn't be able to reach, and you can find them on LinkedIn.
And then we're going to open it up to questions now. I do have some from Twitter and from the forum, but does anybody here have any questions to get started?
I haven't done any contests with Instagram, but I did want to mention that Instagram also uses hashtags too. So if you want to increase followers with Instagram, hashtags are one of them. And one that I should be using is like the photo a day one, since I do that. As far as contests with Instagram, no, I don't have any with that. How about you guys? No.
I've been focusing more on Pinterest, but Instagram does work really well, and you can use the hashtags, and a lot of like celebrities and big names are on there, and it's not as busy, so it might be an easier place for you to interact with them and get responses back from them, because it wouldn't be, they won't get as many comments as they would like on Facebook or on Twitter, so chances are, you can go in and become very active in that community, and it is a good platform. It's just there's so many of them that you have to focus on what you think is best for your company.
Yeah. Currently, we're not doing anything yet as well. There is a lot of content around our brand on there. I think to Steph's point, right now you can be everywhere, but we're also really focusing on mastering all of our channels and of course we want to be where all of our customers are, but I think especially when you're getting into it, and you don't want to spread yourself too thin, because then you're just not doing anything very well. So for us, it is on our list to get into it. We are monitoring it very closely, and if there's ever like questions or anything that comes up, we are aware of everything. But at this point, we're not fully doing anything that like promotional wise, or we don't have the strongest presence there as of yet, but it is on our roadmap.
Monitoring is important. So, and I think James is there. We were talking about this the other day. Not answering a question or a comment from a customer is almost as bad as, you're not answering, you're like locking your door and saying you're closed, not answering your phone, not answering your emails. It's just as important, and it's the new way that people are communicating. Not only that, it's not happening behind the scenes. It's now public, so everyone's seeing it. So, it's very important to make sure that you know what people are saying. And generally, 9 times out of 10, it's not anything negative. It's just usually just informational, like, do you ship to Canada? Just like you would answer to them in person to person, you should have those same efforts and answer to them online.
You had a question?
The new Facebook business page, how does that relate to the Facebook fan page? What did businesses use before?
Okay, it's the same. So basically, there's a few different things that you can do on Facebook. One is a personal page. So if you have a personal page and it's set up with your business name, Facebook could shut you down. So you want to make sure that you have a business page. A business and a fan page is the same thing. Basically, it's the page that has where you can like the page. It gives you analytics so you can see what kind of demographics is it, 75% women, what age groups are they in, what cities are they in, what languages do they speak, what content are they clicking on the most, what do they like the most. So that kind of information you cannot get on a personal page. So it's very important to have a business page. You can also promote your post and do targeted advertisements through business pages only. You can't do that on personal pages. There's also something that are Facebook groups that people are using that is very popular as well. It's a little bit different, but it's a lot more conversational and behind the scenes, and it's a great way to build connections, and people tend to have a lot more conversations on groups. You can actually make those private, so you can go ahead and invite certain people to join the group. You can automatically add people to groups, but people have been taking advantage of that, and it doesn't look too good when it's without their acknowledgement. So it's better just to invite people to join the group. You can make it private or public, and then you can have conversations. So, if you are a vet, you can invite pet lovers, and then you can start talking about why it's important to, feed your dog heartworm pills. And, people within the group, you don't even have to monitor it that much because it gets to the point where they start helping each other and answering each other's questions. So.
To set up a business page, you set it under the business's name or under my own name?
Okay, you want to set it up under, so basically you have your own personal account, and then you can, through your personal account, you can create your business page. And once you hit, they keep changing it, but it's like 25 fans, you can name the page. So ideally, you want your name to be consistent everywhere. So if you can grab whatever your website is or whatever your brand is and name your Facebook page the same thing, that's very ideal. If that's not available, you'll have other options. But you do want it to be facebook.com/ the name of your company. Something that's short and easy to spell. And you have to keep in mind on Twitter, you have a less amount of space. So on Facebook, I'm micromedia marketing, but on Twitter, I had to shorten the word marketing because there's not as much space. So ideally, you want to be easily found, and you want to have the same name everywhere.
If I've already got the name on a fan page, then I'm going to use the same name on a business page.
You can only, if you've named a page already, like even if you named, if I had set up my personal page and I named it Micromedia Marketing, I would not be able to change that name. You can only name it. They'll let you change your name once if you're still under 200 fans, but if someone already has your name or you already used your name for something else, they're not going to let you change that name.
And we had a question that I think, Drew, you would probably be able to answer this best. Are sponsored tweets and sponsored stories worth it on the affiliate side? And then I think you guys could probably give some insight on the other end as well.
Clarification of that question: are they to run them yourself, or
to run them and to make money off of them?
To make money off them. Sponsored posts, I've done pretty decent with that. Sponsored tweets, probably not so much unless you're really, really popular on Twitter. Can you demand more money for it? Yeah, I think sponsored tweets not as much, but a sponsored post probably more, depending on, again, it's going to depend on the audience that you have. So that's if you're approaching it from the side of, to make money by doing those things. If it's to use those as tools, those are decent tools to help drive traffic. So, I guess.
And then did you guys want to comment on the brand side as well?
Yeah, well, I mean, as a brand, you can get celebrities on Twitter to help you promote things. So that does work really well because they do have a big audience. So if you think that a certain, Ashley Tisdale goes really well with your brand and you get her to tweet about it, that actually does convert to sales. On Pinterest, we're talking to a company and we're working on something similar where they have Pinterest accounts that have a lot of traffic, and it's going to help us promote other clients and get us a lot of repins and get us a lot of new followers. On Facebook, what I've told to all my clients is let's invest a little bit of money. I mean, I'm saying as little as $5 a post. Come on. So we go in and we do that, but only when it's something important. We don't do it every single day. But to give you an example, one of our clients hit 10,000 fans, and we were excited about it, and we decided let's give our fans an exclusive coupon code. And we wanted to boost it up a little bit, so we also promoted the post, and we also featured the post. So on Facebook, you have two sides, and the images are kind of small, so you can actually click, there's a little star. That expands and makes your post stand out and be a lot bigger. You can actually also pin it to the top. But in this case, we featured it and we promoted it, and then we definitely got, I think, like 4,000 views or something like that, and people did use the coupon code, and promoting it did help us to get a lot more exposure and a lot more usage of the coupon. And we were able to track it because it was something that we used exclusively for Facebook.
And then I think another question that people have brought up that would probably be good for you, Eric, is do you use Twitter or Facebook lists to separate how you promote content or who you promote to?
Yep. So we definitely do. We leverage a lot of the targeting tools, which up before the recent Facebook change, where now you can target a lot more people. Before that, it was mostly location specific. So we actually took advantage for Carnival. It makes a lot of sense, right? We have a lot of different markets across the U.S. As well as the world. I mostly focus on the U.S. On all of our U.S. fans, but basically, you know, for us, it made a lot of sense when we have a certain sale going on or something. Our content was a lot more relevant to those people if we were targeting that. Additional to location, we actually about 3 months ago started doing a lot of language tests, so a lot of posts specifically to our Spanish audience, and it was actually got a really, really great response. We're actually now working on designing landing pages that, you know, if we're going to send people to the site and have Spanish as their main language on Facebook, we want to keep everything consistent. So we do leverage those and are seeing really, really great results. For Twitter, I think this goes back to what Steph said. So basically, where we found the most value is not just monitoring our name, but I have one search query for just on a cruise, and that I swear that thing updates like at least 2 tweets every second. Of just people saying, oh my God, I want to go on a cruise, I want to, I had the best time on a cruise, etc. We start to build relationships with those people. If we know they're a customer, we segment them so that we can follow them and actually engage with them even when they're not talking about us. So we know if a customer, it's their birthday or someone got married or they just took a test, we actually engage with them in that way and create that relationship and keep it going. And through our platform, we actually use Radiant 6. It allows you to take notes on your customers. So, we'll keep that up so that, other members of our team actually know about that person a little bit when they're engaging with them. Do you have a question?
I just want to share something. I'm from the Netherlands, and one case of a retailer who did the same. And they followed people who tweeted in the morning that they overslept themselves, and they said, "Oh, that's too bad. Your clock radio must be broken. Send us a personal message, and we'll send you a new clock radio."
Yep.
But that's got a lot of free publicity, and started the buzz. That's one great way to engage your customer.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think that's the thing is like I've seen it done really well and really wrong. Some people will see, oh my God, I really want to go on a cruise, and then they're just blasted with sales and affiliate links and everything, and nothing ever good comes of that. We just slowly try to engage people and just we're not focused on that short-term sale, but actually just obviously building that relationship and just getting to know them. And I think another thing, to your point, like we also monitor competitors, obviously, and then just using the power of our audience to sort of speak to our brand. So, we get all the time, should I take a Carnival, Cruise, Royal, or Norwegian? It'd be very easy for us like to obviously promote ourselves and say how awesome we are. But instead we flipped it around. We'll be like, we'll retweet them, but we'll edit it at the front and be like, what do you guys think to our audience? And then just like hundreds of tweets would come in saying how much people loved us, and it actually does really, really well for conversions, and they'll normally book with us when we do it. But I think just being creative and finding keywords that are relevant and trying to segment them. So if you know someone's a customer of yours, start to keep track of what they're doing. If you spend a couple hours or an hour or two at night on Twitter, you at least have those people organized so you don't have to go through. If you're following thousands of people, it can be really hard on Twitter to figure out what your influencers or people who are talking about you are saying when it's not relevant to your brand. But yeah, we segment by keywords, by influencers, by competitors, by a lot of different things that we just want to keep track of, and I think that's it's been really helpful and advantageous for us. So I would recommend doing that.
Danielle?
Speaking of brands being on the ball with social, and Drew probably remembers when this happened, I was using ScreenFlow to record podcasts, and I was having a really hard time with it, and it kept crashing on me, and I ranted about it on Twitter one day, and their rival, Camtasia, contacted me and said, do you want to use Camtasia instead? And they said, you should use Camtasia instead. So I wrote back and I said, do you want to give me one for free? Want to give me a license for free? And they said yes. So now I'm a Camtasia user.
Right.
So just an example of a company really on the ball.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Spreecast. I was looking for a good video tool where I could, have more than one person doing video at a time, and I was just talking about it. I don't know, maybe I found someone on Twitter that told me, and I use Twitter to find out, people now will ask their friends to find products or what they think before they use something, so it changes the way that people shop. So not only did my friends tell me it was a good tool, but then since they were monitoring that, they responded to me and said, can we give you a free demo today? And then the next day I was on a call with them, and they were really on the ball about that, so that's really important. One thing that he mentioned, which is, it is good to have other people talk about you, not just you talking about yourself. So why don't you actually pick out really good customers or partners and cross-promote them and talk about them on your blog, and all of a sudden they're going to start sharing it with their friends, because who doesn't like talking about themselves or sharing that? So all of a sudden, instead of just saying something about yourself, talk about other people, and it starts spreading a little more virally. One thing that we were doing with People Water that I forgot to mention was that every Friday we were doing a Peep of the Week for People Water, and we were picking out people that were very vocal, saying great things about us. And all we did was, we have T-shirts with the branded logo, stickers, the bottles of water, and we just, every week we pick someone, we highlight them, we thank them, and we send them something as simple as a T-shirt. That doesn't cost a lot of money to do, but all of a sudden now you have a big fan that's becoming not only brand loyal, but is becoming a brand ambassador, and then they're walking around with a branded T-shirt, taking pictures of it and sharing it with everyone, and that's a very easy way to get your brand out there.
And it looks like it's time for us to wrap up. I'm sure if you guys have other questions, everybody will stick around and answer them. And if you'd like to contact anybody from the panel today, you've got our information up there, of course, with Twitter handles and hashtags. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.